from it, and that is, given the ambiguity in the statute, is what is meant by 30,000 population that which was in the last federal census, or that which was accurate based on the time of the application? I would suggest to you, Madam Chair, that we have haunting questions here about the application itself. There were a number of partners that had joined in that application, and those partners, many would suggest, were necessary to the institution and maintenance of this charter school. But I also read with interest, Madam Chair, in the testimony that we've presented to you, that it has been the position of the DESE that once an application has been submitted, no additional information based on that application will be considered. I urge you to ask that question, particularly in light of the fact that there may have been material changes in terms of partners that had a change of heart relative to this application once it was submitted. Madam Chair, I attended the public hearing that was held in this city relative to this application on December 11th. I would suggest to you that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has never seen a hearing that was as well attended or that saw passionate points of view expressed, particularly in the numbers who opposed the charter school. In fact, Madam Chair, the record notes that a great number of people who attended that hearing, because of the time factor, were not allowed to speak because their time had run out. And that's what makes it all the worse, Madam Chair, that when we have a public hearing, the folks that make the decisions would have been there and should have been there and weren't. And after the fact, we have a change, we have a waiver that is granted within the purview of a law or regulation that suggests that it should only be done in extreme circumstances, and yet there were no extreme circumstances here, at least none that were on the record. We turn next to the panel review, and we look at the reviewer's statements, and we find that they found the application not deserving of recommendation. And yet we have a decision that was made by the commissioner, which I would presume, using common sense, that was based on that recommendation, and yet they contradict each other. And so I ask the question once again of the chairs and of the committee members, on what basis was this charter granted? It's clear from the record that we have before us tonight that there were questions about population, there are questions about the supporters of this school, and the worst part about that issue is that there was never any attempt to verify if they were or were not in existence. There are questions about changes that were material to the application. One of the things that is very haunting, and I've used that word consciously several times in my testimony before you tonight, is that there is a statement in one of the reviewers' comments that we've provided with you, thanks to the Freedom of Information request, by the way, that was conducted by our superintendent, and I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for the work that he's done in that regard. But there is a statement about how, in fact, the charter school will thrive and overcome the opposition and the controversy that has been in this community surrounding it. I would suggest to you that as long as we have what I would consider to be improprieties in the process and a lack of integrity in the process, the charter school will always have a very difficult time in doing that. I guess the last thought that I would leave you with is, I think this is a community that is engaged in its public schools. And again, whether I happen to agree or disagree with all of the people in this audience here tonight, we deserved a chance to try to work it out ourselves. And when I read the panel reviews, I think the reviewers got it right because they understood that. We never got that chance. It troubles me a lot. So I would hope you would continue to ask the questions. I appreciate your being in this city tonight. I know it's not easy with the schedules that all of you keep, because Representative Ferranti and I experience those same schedules every day. But I know that you care. I know that you care about the process. I know that you put kids first. And I would hope to say that this is a community that truly appreciates that caring. And we thank you very, very much for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tarr. I have a request to make, which is that if you could hold your applause, it does delay the hearing. I certainly understand and appreciate the emotion behind it and your wish to express appreciation to Representative Ferrante and Senator Tarr, but I think we will be out of here at a more reasonable hour if we can continue to move the hearing along, and I suspect all of you would prefer to get home sooner rather than later this evening. So thank you for that. And next, I'd like to recognize Maura Banta, who is the Chair of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair Walz, Chairman O'Leary, Senator Tarr, Representative Ferrante, Mayor Kirk, Superintendent Farmer, and the members of the Gloucester community. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to testify before you this evening. For the record, my name is Maura Banta, and I'm the chair of the Mass Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. In Massachusetts, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education is the sole authorizer of charter schools, and this is a role that we take very seriously. We recognize the groundbreaking educational opportunities that a well-structured charter school with strong leadership and a dedicated faculty can provide. We are also sensitive to the financial implications of opening a new charter school in a school district, particularly in the midst of today's fiscal climate. Over the course of a year, we make a steady stream of charter school-related decisions. We renew charters and vote on charter amendments that are made to reflect a school's changing circumstances. But without question, the most important charter school votes that we take are decisions on whether to grant a new charter or to revoke an existing one. We recognize that an affirmative vote gives birth to a new school that will affect the lives of students and the community for years to come. If we are not convinced that a proposed school will be able to deliver a high-quality education for its students, provide important educational choices for parents, spur innovation, and add value to its community, we will not approve it. As a board, we recognize the impact that community support has on a charter school and consider feedback from the public as one of the many factors we consider when deliberating on a proposed school. In addition to public comment, we consider several other types of information: the charter school application, documentation from interviews conducted by the charter school office, and ultimately the recommendation of the commissioner. Several weeks prior to our February 2009 vote on the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School application, board members received background material on the school, a thorough summary of the comments that were made at the public hearings, and a summary of all written comments sent to the department. In addition, each board member received a tremendous amount of correspondence directly from members of the public by mail and by email. We also extended the public comment portion of our February board meeting to allow ample time for additional voices to be heard. I was personally struck by the public objection to this proposed school. And while I found many of the comments to be compelling, I also had to weigh the rationale in favor of the new charter. Ultimately, when I considered the public opinion very seriously, I voted in favor of granting the charter, and I stand firmly behind that decision tonight. I was attracted to the uniqueness of the proposed school and believe that its arts-focused curriculum will benefit the entire Gloucester community. Let me be clear. My support of this school does not take away from my belief in the Gloucester Public Schools. I recognize that this is a vibrant, well-run district that already operates some very high-performing schools. Still, I believe that the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School will add tremendous value to the city's educational structure and provide students with an alternative public option that they would not have had otherwise. I'm a parent, and I know how important it is to ensure that nothing stands in the way of your child getting the best possible education. I am hopeful that over time, the school would become part of the fabric of the Gloucester community, and that its distinctive curriculum will help to enrich the education not only of its children, but of all children who attend Gloucester Public Schools. I know that this is a very important issue for the community. I appreciate your passion, and I appreciate the fact that you're so invested in the educational future of your students. I appreciate the opportunity to address all of you tonight, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the the chair of the board. Let me ask a question of you, since it was raised by